Borders are not just the line on a map. They are the frontiers of trust between the nations. Yet when the trust eroded, these borders become the flashpoint of tension and conflict. This sentiment aptly reflects the ongoing India-China border dispute, which is a complex issue rooted in history and shaped by contemporary geopolitics. Spanning over 3,488 kilometers, the line of actual control (LAC) remains an unresolved boundary between the differing perception fueling the periodic tensions. From the historic Galwan Valley clash to the recent agreement on patrolling, the dispute continues to test the efforts and military preparedness. Hello aspirants, I am Vishal Salsekar, Faculty of International Relations at VisionIAS, and today we will dive deep into the history of India-China border, the border dispute, recent developments, broader implications, some other persisting issues between India and China. We will also explore the way forward as India navigates a path to secure the sovereignty while striving for a peaceful coexistence with its neighbor. So let's discuss this topic in a detailed manner and in a step-by-step manner. First, we have to discuss that why this topic was there in news. So India and China have recently reached an important agreement concerning the line of actual control (LAC), particularly in the eastern Ladakh region. This agreement aims to first allow the Indian troops to resume the patrolling up to their old patrolling points regions like Depsang and Demchok region, which were the two major friction zones. Second, to further build on the disengagement process achieved in the areas like Galwan Valley, Pangong Tso Lake, and Gogra Hot Springs. This marks a significant step towards restoring the original position as of April 2020, prior to the violent clashes that had happened in the Galwan Valley. However, the experts have cautioned that while this agreement offers the hope, its success depends on the sustained and the genuine efforts by both nations. Now, talking about the India and China border dispute, it is one of the longest standing territorial issue in the world. But before moving into the discussion on the border dispute, first let's discuss the India-China border. The 3,488 km long border between India and China can be divided into three broad sectors. The western sector covers the territories like Aksai Chin and the Ladakh region. The middle sector stretches through the regions like Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. The eastern sector extends through the Arunachal Pradesh and the region of Sikkim. We know that in order to understand the present dispute, we must also revisit the past and understand the origin of the dispute. The root cause of this lies in the absence of a clearly demarcated boundary between India and China. Established post-1962 after the India-China war, the line of actual control is not formally agreed upon by both the nations, but a de facto demarcation is there. Its ambiguity has been the frequent source of tensions between these two countries. Post-independence, India inherited the British-drawn boundary, which includes the Johnson Line in the western sector and the McMahon Line in the eastern sector. In the western sector, India claims the region of Aksai Chin as a part of Jammu and Kashmir region. India's claim comes from the Johnson Line of 1860s. The Johnson Line, drawn in 1860s by British after surveying the region and incorporated Aksai Chin into the state of Jammu and Kashmir. However, China rejects this claim of India. China, on the other hand, claims the region of Aksai Chin on the basis of Macartney-MacDonald Line proposed during 1890s that put Aksai Chin region into Chinese side. The next sector is the middle sector, which is the least contentious. Here the broad agreement basically exists between these two nations on the border. However, there is further dispute in the eastern sector of the border, which includes the region of Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim. The McMahon Line, drawn during 1914 Shimla Convention, serves as the boundary between India and China. But China rejects this claim. It claims the region of Arunachal Pradesh as a part of southern Tibet. Now, though we know that the border dispute has often led to the serious tensions, there are some other critical areas of concern between India and China. In the western border, China's construction of a 400-meter bridge connecting the north and south bank of Pangong Tso Lake in the eastern Ladakh region enhances its military logistics and troops mobility. This leads to the raising serious concern about India's security in the region. This development is a part of larger pattern of Chinese assertiveness along the line of actual control, which is LAC. Beyond the immediate border, Chinese string of pearls strategy involves building of strategic infrastructure and increasing its presence in the countries surrounding India, such as the countries like Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Maldives, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. These developments creates an encirclement effect and challenging India's influence and security in its neighborhood. Another important issue is water disputes with China, as China is constructing dams on the upper reaches of the river Brahmaputra without any formal water sharing treaty. This raises the serious concern for India because it has reduced the water availability in its northeastern states and risk of floods due to the unregulated water release. The next contentious issue is the non-reciprocity of One China policy by One India policy. Now, India recognizes One China policy by acknowledging that Taiwan and Tibet are part of the People's Republic of China. However, China has not reciprocated it, and it continues to dispute Indian territorial claim, particularly in the region of Arunachal Pradesh. Another issue is China's support to the Pakistani military establishment. Also, China supports the state-sponsored terrorism against India that is being unfurled by Pakistan. Finally, the China's aggressive territorial claims in the South China Sea threatens the freedom of navigation and the regional stability. This is particularly significant for India as over more than 55% of trade passes through this region. These disputes collectively reflect the complex and often tense relationship between India and China, with far-reaching implications for the regional and the global geopolitics. Considering the severity of these issues, both countries have taken multiple steps to resolve the disputes and maintaining the peace and building trust along the line of actual control. The 1993 Agreement on Maintenance of Peace and Tranquility laid the foundation for the peaceful border management. In 1996, the Agreement on Confidence Building Measures (CBMs) in the military field along with LAC was introduced as a practical step, such as troop limitation and communication protocol. In 2001, the Declaration on the Principles of Relations and Comprehensive Cooperation aimed to enhance the bilateral ties and trust. In 2005, a protocol on modalities for implementing the CBMs provided a detailed guidelines for the troop movement and the military exercises. The 2012 Agreement on the Working Mechanism for Consultation and Coordination establishes the platform for dialogue between the military and the diplomatic officials. Finally, in 2013, Border Defense Cooperation Agreement reinforced the mutual restraint and communication to prevent any accidental kind of clashes. But even with these kind of working mechanisms, we have seen many escalations like Doklam issue of 2017. The standoff occurred when India opposed the China's road construction in the Bhutanese territory near the Tri-Junction region of India, China and Bhutan, citing the security concerns over the strategic vulnerabilities. It was a more than 70-day standoff. Similarly, another major issue was there that we have already discussed with respect to the Galwan Valley incident. Thus, when the issue is multi-pronged, we need a multi-pronged strategy to holistically resolve this issue. This will need a continuous engagement in the form of high-profile summits like the Wuhan Summit of 2018 and Mamallapuram Summit of 2019, which were focused on the de-escalation and the confidence building. The exercises like Hand in Hand that aims to foster the cooperation, though there have been sporadic due to the tensions. Last time it was held in 2019 only. The frequency of such exercises also need to be increased. Also, the platforms like BRICS and Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) needs to be utilized for dialogue and to engage China constructively. Simultaneously, India has also focused upon the infrastructure. It led to the significant improvement in the border infrastructure, including the roads, bridges, and airstrips to ensure swift troop movement. In the end, we can say that India-China border agreement is just a step forward, but it comes with the significant challenges. While the agreement offers a lot of hopes, they must be backed by vigilance, robust policies, and a clear strategy to secure India's interest. The topic of India-China border and the border dispute is an important topic from the UPSC exam perspective, both from prelims as well as from the mains perspective. And even one who has general interest in understanding the international relations and foreign policy, for them also it is very important. Thank you dear aspirants for watching this video, and stay tuned for more such in-depth analysis to boost your UPSC preparation on the topics of international relations. We will meet further for such more discussions. Together, let's make the learning engaging and more impactful. Best of luck. Thank you.